Salofalava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susana Swiswiki. Coming up.
Right now there is only one Prime Minister, that's Honourable Rabuka. The whole People's Coalition is 100% behind him.
Fiji's Deputy Prime Minister backs Rabuka also.
We really wanted to bring joy to the people and we worked really hard to make them proud of us.
New Zealand qualifies for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, while New Zealand helps Rabi Island with new water systems. One of Fiji's Deputy Prime Ministers says Sitiveni Rabuka is the best man to rebuild Fiji after 16 years of dictatorship. Manoa Kamikamida was responding to Labour leader Mahendra Chaudhry, who last week called Rabuka unfit to lead the country and frequently inconsistent. Chaudhry hit out after Rabuka did a U-turn on restoring disgraced MP Linda Tamboya to cabinet. Rabuka dumped the former Minister for Women, Children and Social Protection after a private video of hers was leaked. Margot Staunton asked Mr Kamikamida if he had aspirations for the top job.
Look, on various occasions that's been asked. Right now there is only one Prime Minister, that's Honourable Rabuka. The whole People's Coalition is 100% behind him, and that will continue as long as he wants to be Prime Minister. Now, we need stability in Fiji. We need consistent, stable leadership, which is being driven through the Honourable Prime Minister. And what I think or what I feel is totally immaterial.
Well, look, what is being reported quite widely in the media are concerns over the Prime Minister's tendency to flip-flop, change his mind all the time, and because he's getting older.
Yeah, that's just people that have done nothing positive to bring to the conversation. The reality is he's brought Fiji out of a very hard situation, 16 years of dictatorship. He, as far as I'm concerned, is very clear in where he wants to drive the country. And what any sensible government should do, including me, is to support him wholeheartedly in his endeavour to rebuild Fiji, which is in a mess at the moment because of the last government, and also, unify the country, which is equally important.
How confident is the coalition government of winning the next election?
To be honest, it's early days to be talking about who's going to win what. We've got a long list of things we need to execute. It took us a good 2 years to mobilize and understand the extent of all the mess that's in the country. And you will see this year and certainly next year a heightened level of execution. So just to give you an example, we know that there was a mess in the health system. And in order to even come up with any sensible way of addressing it, we had to reach out to development partners to develop assessment of the health system. And guess what? After 12 to 18 months of evaluation, they've told us that the health system is not adequate for Fiji. It's actually very poor. So we now have a plan to start resolving the issues. What we're doing is we've now assessed the areas that we need to fix things, and we are progressively fixing them. You're talking about 2.5 years of rule versus 16 years of dictatorship. So, it's a totally apples and oranges kind of comparison in the first place. But for me, and I'm sure for all my fellow colleagues, the focus right now is not who's going to win the next election. It's now that we know what we know, how do we execute as well as we can to deliver the changes that the people of Fiji are demanding.
Just to divert slightly, do you have any idea why the Prime Minister has done a U-turn on restoring Linda Tamboya to cabinet?
I'm just reading the report. It's really, other than reading the reports, I've left it at that. As we all know, in a Westminster system, we serve at the discretion of the Prime Minister. So, it's his prerogative, and I'm not going to try and understand what the Prime Minister thinks is right. Yeah.
Former Prime Minister Frank Bainimarama seized power in a military coup in 2006. However, Fiji returned to democracy in 2014. Bainimarama's Fiji First Party swept to victory in 2014, the first general election in 8 years. But the party was viewed as being dictatorial due to the bullying and intimidation of opponents, flouting of human rights and suppression of the media. New Caledonia finished second to the New Zealand All Whites in the OFC World Cup qualifier final at Eden Park in Auckland on Monday night, losing 3-0 in front of over 20,000 fans. But the 2023 Pacific Games champions say they will be back stronger and better. Elisa Tora was at the big game on Monday night.
New Caledonia head coach Johan Sidena told the media through a translator after the game he was proud of his players, who managed to hold their own against the professionals in the All Whites and displayed some of their own combinations.
Yes, so during this first half we worked really hard to keep them in check, to really make them doubt. But yes, so we had great success in this regard. But then, yeah, that was our highlight. I really loved what I saw on the field today. Loved the team, loved the group, the players, the skills that they showed, the technical skills. Unfortunately, it was not enough today.
Sidena says they had prepared to beat the All Whites, but will now have to work towards the playoffs as they continue to play for their people.
Yeah, we didn't really prepare for playing the playoff. We gave 100%. We worked really hard for this game tonight. Unfortunately, now we have to go through the next step, but we are going to give our best, and it's a small chance, but we can do it. We obviously thought about everyone back home in our country. We really wanted to bring joy to the people, and we worked really hard to make them proud of us.
Despite the disappointment of losing to New Zealand, Sidena believes his young players will return stronger and much better.
Yeah, so New Caledonia, it's a very small country, small population, and in the changing room tonight after the game I could feel the disappointment amongst the players. Those players, most of them are very young, and even though we had a few experimented players, but because they are so young, this feeling of disappointment made me believe that we will come back even stronger in the future.
Meanwhile, All Whites head coach Darren Basley says it was great to have won World Cup qualification, adding the New Caledonians were tougher than they had expected.
Maybe we underestimate is, these guys deal with pressure, they play high-level football and they deal with it, but actually this is a different challenge. There's a World Cup on the line, everybody wants to get there, desperate to get there, and we're playing in a game where we're heavy favourites, and it's a weird feeling for the players. Something that we have to deal with, obviously, and it took us a little bit longer than we wanted.
New Zealand will now work on securing international matches to help them prepare for the World Meet, while New Caledonia is hopeful they can also get some competitive matches ahead of their March 2026 intercontinental commitments.
A national survey is set to kick off in Tokelau later this year in an effort to measure the cost of living. The non-self-governing territory of New Zealand's national statistician says the survey will ask questions like how much do you spend in one day, how much do you spend on boat fares, and how much do you receive in remittances from your families overseas. Malama Waina Kitiona told Atahu government media team, Te Momoa, he knows it's a tough ask to give that information, but it's vital for the future of Tokelau that people do.
That's all data that it's very crucial. We really need your support. The information that we will ask you is very critical to our development. When we come to your family and ask your questions, please do not hesitate to ask questions too.
Malama says measuring what people have is the only way for the government to work out how to better support communities. He says the data is critical to Tokelau's national development.
We are facing global economic and also regional economic crisis, and it would be very challenging for small island nations like us counter and also respond to challenges here in a rising of inflation, the unemployment rate.
Malama started out in Samoa's finance ministry and joined the Bureau of Statistics before taking on his role in Tokelau. He moved to Atahu Atoll earlier this month. In his address, he took the opportunity to try and inspire more youngsters to take on statistics as a profession.
Some people say, and I'm pretty sure they will tell you, it's a very boring job. You just sit at your desk doing Excel, reading numbers, but those numbers are your guiding stars to the future. Not only you, but also Tokelau.
Malama says there are less than 5 statisticians in Tokelau. Access to water has never been more easier or cleaner for the people of Rabi Island in Fiji. thanks to the New Zealand government who funded the water projects through NGO Habitat for Humanity Fiji. In 2023, the Rabi Island Council requested for assistance for several communities who had been struggling with severe water shortages. Prior to the upgrade, access to water was limited to 2 to 3 hours a day. Families would also have to walk long distances to creeks and streams to collect water. The lack of maintenance of existing water systems meant women and children would fetch water from polluted sources, increasing the risk of waterborne diseases. I spoke with Habitat for Humanity Fiji's coordinator, Devita Senido, about the new water systems.
The water supply project funded by New Zealand High Commissioner's Office really helps the community with the challenges around water scarcity and inadequate supply due to poor maintenance and the challenge that the current administration of the Rabi Council is facing, especially with the financial crisis that they're facing.
Just before I ask my next question, just to clarify, there are 4 communities on Rabi Island that are experiencing severe water shortages, right?
That's correct. Yes, those communities were highlighted by the Rabi Council of Leaders plumbers.
How long did these communities struggle with water shortages before the Rabi Council requested for assistance in 2023?
Well, they've been facing this challenge, I would say, for more than 10 years.
Was the Fiji government made aware of the water shortages?
Yes. The challenge that the communities in Rabi are facing, and the way that the challenges were communicated to government was done through the Rabi Council of Leaders. The way government worked with Rabi, the current Prime Minister served as the Minister for the people of Rabi as well. So all reports with regards to the affairs and the challenges that the community are facing is communicated directly to the Prime Minister's office.
And what was the response from the Fiji government?
Well, the government of Fiji, they on annual basis, they provide a subvention fund to the Rabi Council, which is not, I would say, the council is not able to utilize it to address this challenge for quite some time due to there are internal challenges as well with regards to the audit and all of that, and that has sort of made it impossible for the council to access the funds for quite a long time. And because of that, the community is really facing this problem because unfortunately the council cannot. The management of water supply in the community is really the responsibility of the council.
Do you think that's good enough, though?
I know there's a lot on the government to look at the challenges, not only for Rabi, but of course Vanuatu and all of Fiji. But I feel there are other important priorities to government, and that may be the reason why we continue to wait for the right time when Rabi is considered a priority of government. But we still are hopeful that help will come through government.
Yeah, I hear that, but you've just told me that Rabi Island has been experiencing 10 years of severe water shortages. So, I mean, yeah, what are your thoughts on Fiji government, being able to approve requests for a vehicle, but they haven't been able to step up in terms of, water supply on Rabi Island?
Well, I would say, yeah, that should be the government of Fiji should have prioritized this need on the island. But then it came to a surprise that they were able to assist Rabi with a separate vehicle. Yeah, well, I can say at this point in time, well, it is the government's priority. I cannot really comment on that, but I feel that there is a gap in terms of the priority for Rambi, and maybe that's an area that we can come into a support for an NGO, and that perhaps that's a role that we play to support government in that regard.
Hey, Tevita, thank you so much for your time, but that's the end of our Talanoa. Is there anything else that you'd like to share?
I'm really grateful to have this opportunity, because I just wanted to say for the people of Rambi, and especially for my people, I would say that the support and the assistance provided by the people of New Zealand really assisted the community of Rambi, who've been suffering from lack of water supply, lack of access to clean water supplies for our vulnerable people on the island as well. And I would like to express our gratitude, our sincere gratitude to the people of New Zealand for this timely assistance.
That's Pacific Waves for today. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, tō whā sui fua.